how to set up this board. So the first thing you want to do is make a new Photoshop document. So it's a print one, so use that print option. And if you can't see A3 up here, just hit that View All Presets and choose an A3 and just make it Landscape and then just say Create, and that will give you a blank Photoshop board. Now if you've got this part, you've got your brainstorming mind map, you're just going to put it in the middle of the page so it ends up looking like this. So this is one that's finished, obviously. I'll just zoom up a bit so you can see. And the idea is just to start collecting some of that imagery. So I'll kind of do it from scratch on a new one so you can see. So once you've downloaded your mood board, you'll be able to place it into Photoshop, and you'll also be able to scale it. So when you first bring it in, so when you first bring it in, you probably have to go and find it. It might be sitting in your documents, wherever it is. You go and find that mind map. I don't know if I've got one just by itself, that's my problem. There's a couple more to show you actually. So when you go File Place, you'll get your image coming in, and it'll probably have handles on it, and you can scale it up and down, and then you'll be able to put it in the middle. So I'll just show you with that one. So I'll just save that as another version of it.
Where to find the image picture?
Yes, so once you've done that, once you get it in the middle, you can scale it up and down so it ends up right in the middle like that. And then you want to go and get some pictures that relate to it. Now you might have already collected things.
1, 2.
Yeah.
What time do you want to start the next class?
I don't mind.
Yeah. Do you want to start it at 1 o'clock or 1:30? It's up to you. Sorry, Jenny, to interrupt.
That's right.
I don't mind.
So yeah, so about getting the pictures, you can see that each of these is sitting on its own
That means
layer.
the picture. Where find that picture?
The pictures, you can source them off the internet, but that's why I'm suggesting...
Internet is okay.
Sorry?
No, I mean a picture I find from internet, Google. It is okay.
It's okay, but you can try Unsplash as well, unsplash.com. But first off, you might want to collect some things on the Pinterest board, and then you can start downloading anything that you really like that you've found. Pinterest is a really quick way of finding images, and then you can download them from Pinterest and just add them to the board. So the idea is that you cut them, you bring them in, you place them, and if you've say you find something, oh sorry, I'm still downloading an image. Say we're looking at architecture and you want tiled Baroque architecture.
Google is okay.
You might find something,
Yeah.
because we're not copying anything at the moment,
Yeah.
it's okay to go and just look generally.
Yeah.
You can also have a look on, and also you'll often find you can pin these directly
Yeah.
to your Pinterest board, but I suggest you go via Pinterest first and make some selections, go and get some stuff. So I'll just go back and open, see if I've got the Pinterest board open. I can just show you quickly. Where is that Pinterest board? I thought I had it open. Nope. Where did I have it open? Ugh, I don't know where I had it open. Maybe I shut it again. Thought I was logged in. Maybe it logged me out again. It's not in. No? Oh dear. Not going to get back in again. I was logged in
Somehow,
before. I don't know why it's gone out. Yeah, no, we're back in. It's logged out. So, just looking at some of the ones I've got, if you just want to search generally, you go back out to home, and then you're not searching your own boards, you're out searching anywhere, and I could look at Baroque roofs, see what happens. And now I start to get something quite specific, and I can save those directly to a board. Save to the wrong board, so you've got to check what you're saving it to, and instead of that one, I should be able to pick, and I can also download the image. So you can use Pinterest to very quickly get a lot of resources on one very specific topic, and then download the ones that, and put them on a board, and then download the ones that really interest you, and then place them into Photoshop. So at the moment, you might need to spend a little bit of time just collecting imagery on, putting them on, making. I'll just go back and I'll make a new board. So back in my profile, you have the little plus symbol there. Now, so I really need to create a new board, and I'm going to call it Baroque Architecture. Because that's what I've decided I'm going to go down that particular rabbit hole. It's already starting to give me stuff. It's very quick to feed you stuff, and you can just save that. Just check that it's being saved to the right. I'll just say done. And then you can always hit more ideas, and it'll start feeding you more things. You go, oh, okay, that's actually, it's not Baroque roofs, but suddenly I'm getting something. Well, I really like that angel there. So how about I could download it straight away, but because we're trying to build up visual resources for ourselves, it's a good idea to, it's gone to my Baroque architecture one because I already set that board up. So so look, that's that's gone into interesting places. It's giving me some interesting Baroque interiors. And I can just, now that's the wrong board. So if you drop down there, I can select the right board to save it to. And very quickly build up that board. If I go back to my profile, then I can check what I've got on that. And if I want some more, you know, I can ask for more specific things. But again, if I want to do a very general search, go back out to home, and then you are actually searching out on the internet. And let's just go Baroque rooftops. And the other reason it's good to do it this way is that you can generally, it'll keep the links to where it came from. So if you do need to credit it later, instead of you just having grabbed it off the internet and having no other information about it, if it's on your pin board, on one of your boards, you can actually backtrack and find the website that you got it from. So that's another reason why using Pinterest is quite useful for designers. So let's say, you know, I'm not searching my pins because I went to home. I should be doing a much wider search instead of just going to the internet. So again, I can check which board I'm saving it to with that little down arrow, make sure it's going on the right one. And now I very quickly can save. I just get to see so much, it's much more specific. And then that's Renaissance. And again, you know, while you're looking for things, you think, okay, those rooftops could be really interesting shapes I might be able to use for my project, because they could inspire a dress shape, that bell shape, or even this thing here. So I think, okay, that's useful. I'll save that. Make sure you're saving it to the right board. So that little drop down lets you make sure you're saving it to the right board. And just go and save it. You're trying to very quickly look at things that have potential for you to use, you know. If I look at that, I think, again, that could give me a really interesting shape for a garment. So it's a little bit more specific. I'm looking for things, not just random, but things that, oh, look at that one. That's, again, got another really interesting shape to work with. So you can see I'm not grabbing all of them. I'm just looking for things that I think could be really, oh, you know, I like those balustrade things. They look interesting. So
like a Quran.
yeah, yes, things like, yeah, they are like a crown, but they could also translate to a dress shape, or a garment shape, or a jacket, or, you know, it could inspire a whole decorative, or a hat even, you know. So, and the layering of that one I quite like. But just check which board you're saving it to. So if you click the down arrow, you can make sure it's going to the board you want, because by the time you've, you know, collected quite a few, yeah, so anyway, you could kind of, another thing that's interesting is stairs, Baroque, stairs. And kind of look at these. These could give, you know, kind of wraparound ideas, but also, I mean, look at that one for decorative items on a garment. They could be really good. And so once I get to that point where I think I've got enough, and look at that, even that sort of staircase thing going down there, that could translate to a garment. You know, so, oh, look at that one. It kind of really flows down. You can imagine that as a centerpiece for a skirt or something. Yeah. So save that. You know, anything that really catches your eye. If you want to go back and check what you've got, and then, you know, there's my board. Now, if I want to put some of those into Photoshop, now I've got lots. I can just go, well, actually, I think that's got potential. I'm going to just, and you can see how I can track back to where it came from. So I can, because it's on the Pinterest board, it's kept a track of where I got the image from. And that's very useful if you realise, okay, I have actually used this photo quite extensively. I really probably need to credit it. You can go back and find where you got it from, rather than just randomly from the internet. So you get the option then to click on the image, and then you can share it and you can download it.
Yeah.
So now I can download the image because that's one I've decided I want to use. I find it in my downloads folder. There it is. And the nice thing about the Photoshop board now, let's go to my new one, is I can just drag that straight on. Here it comes. Yep, there it is. Drag it up to the size I want and just hit return. And so just get a few images on there that represent the words you've got. Yeah, so you've got a series of words on there. Just go and get a few images for each one, and then, you know, this is where you might get much more specific and go, okay, I'm just going to do a whole mood board next that's all about staircases, you know, Baroque ones. So to begin with, what you've got is going to be quite, you know, you've got quite a general words. You've got the word underwater, and you've got fish. So you'll get some fish, you'll get some seaweed, you'll get quite a lot of things. And as you do that, you'll start to see some that are really much more interesting than others. So you might start off with a Pinterest board that's just underwater. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
sure.
an underwater theme. That's it.
Okay.
Call it underwater theme. Collect a whole bunch of stuff to do with underwater. You're not getting as specific as Baroque staircases yet. Yeah, because you haven't made a decision. You're just doing some initial exploration and throwing some ideas on here. And then, you know, you'll bring me over, we'll have a look at this board and we'll go, okay, oh yeah, that one's got potential. What do you think? Are we just going to go and now do a mood board all about fish scales and fish fins and, you know, so you get much more specific for the mood board. But again, you can be using Pinterest to make a new Pinterest board that's fishtails and just get really specific and get lots of things. And that way you're going to get lots of imagery. So it's a much better way of doing it than just going out on Google and just Googling fishtails and, you know, getting, you know, and then you can't remember where you get things from. You can't ever track back to find where you got that from. So use Pinterest because it's got that way to track imagery, but also because it's so fast. Once you create a board, it's very fast at feeding you more and more of those images. Okay, but your first go is going to be very general. Just look at each word that's on your mind map. I don't even know what's on this one. Okay, wall art, modern, innovation. So reflecting nature. Well, actually, maybe I would just go and get reflections. So I'd go off onto Pinterest and get some images of reflections in glass on a building. I don't know where that's going to take me. And then some minimalist architecture. I just don't know yet. So I'm just collecting stuff. Eventually, that student went down this organic fluidity path, but not at first. She didn't do that until she'd actually saw, oh, there's an image that really inspires me. And then the next step was a whole mood board related just to that. But the first step was just go and get images for all these words and see what happens and see what inspires you. So I think you can see she's got images for all these words on there. And then it was just one or two with this more fluid organic stuff that she then went and turned in and went and made a mood board just about that. So I think I showed you the mood board she made that was just about that. See if I can find it again. Whose was it? Now I've forgotten whose it was. I think it might have been Abby's. Yes, so organic. Yeah? So this is where she went. She got to that after she'd done this first off, much broader, you know, and there was just one or two images on here. She went, oh, okay, organic and fluid. That's going to be my concept. Yeah? So this first step is just really look at the words you've got on your mind map and get a picture for each one. See what happens. Yeah, and somewhere along the line, you'll find a direction that's more interesting.
Yeah.
And then make another Pinterest board that's just all about that. And then from that, you'll make a Photoshop mood board that's just all about that. And then this is what you use to start drawing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got a much more clearer direction.
Understand.
But we wouldn't have got there if we just sat looking at the screen going, oh gosh, I've got to draw an image for a garment. I have no idea where to start or how to get an original idea. You're not going to get somewhere original if you don't let yourself go out and look. Okay, so off you go.
Yeah, take a photo.
Oh,
Yeah,
which one?
it's the first place after. Yeah.
Yeah, so this
Okay.
stage
Yeah.
and then this stage.
Okay. Sure.
Excuse me. Okay, that's it for this lesson. So I have recorded this, and I'll put it on I'll put the movies I've made today on the Moodle
Yeah.
for this
Oh,
week.
okay.
So
Sure.
you can always go back over it again. And next week we'll go through looking at Photoshop, what imagery you're starting to collect, and then in class we'll make the mood board together.
Okay.
Okay, so don't feel you have to run away and finish all of this. Just get going on the Pinterest boards. If you just do that as a first step, just exploring, making a whole bunch of Pinterest boards, you don't yet know where it's going to go, but maybe just architecture generally. Yeah, and just see what happens. Then next week we'll go on with this, and then we'll eventually get to something much more specific. We don't know what it'll be yet, that nobody should be drawing anything yet until they've done a lot of exploration. Remembering that this isn't a project that's all about the end result, it's also about the process. And finding techniques for you that if you ever get stuck for ideas, you go, okay, better go look on Pinterest, better make a new board, and then I'll make a Photoshop mood board, and then just a whole bunch of images, and then start drawing from that, see where it goes. Okay? So very broad to begin with, and then we're going to get more specific. We don't know where it's going to go yet. And that's exciting. We don't know yet.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's open. It's very
Yeah.
open to begin with, and then it just
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
more and more clear, and you go down one particular direction.
Yeah. We are use the paper
Yeah,
design. Paper design. My design. You know. Dress maybe skirt or maybe. Yeah.
okay, I'm going to stop recording now. And,